Hello viewer, this is History and Government from 3 Lesson 8 with your teacher Mr. John and Gatun. In our previous lesson, we have been looking at the Europeans' invasion of Africa and the process of colonization. And in our previous lesson, we were looking at the Samaritan resistance who gave the wrong resistance to the Europeans. And I gave you some assignment. I gave you some assignment that you will try in our previous lesson. This question was, you discuss 3 factors that enabled Ndebele to resist for long. What are these 3 factors that enabled Ndebele to resist for long? One, we say Ndebele was a Muslim, and being a staunch believer of Islam religion, he was a believer of jihadist, and therefore he was supposed to engage in this holy war against the French, and therefore he fought against them, and also the soldiers were so loyal to him. 2, he was a former trader, and being a former trader, Ndebele was familiar with the geography of the region, and therefore to obtain some resources, it was very, very simple, and also he got some help against fighting the French. 3rd, he had a powerful and well-trained army, and we said that this army was divided into 3. I hope you remember it. So this army, being very strong and well-trained, it was able to fight for a long period of time. In today's lesson, we are going to continue the same chapter, and the subtopic we are going to deal with is why the Ndebele and Shona were defeated. Why the Ndebele and Shona were defeated. Why Ndebele and Shona were defeated. And remember, we said the Ndebele being one of the community in the side, the Rubengula, being the side, one of the Bantu-speaking people. They originated from the Transvaal area, and they migrated and settled in Ndebele, that is the modern Zimbabwe. And during the time whereby there was the invasion of the Europeans, they were actually engaged in a very serious resistance, and therefore they were defeated at the later date. So we are going to deal with them, and therefore looking at the Ndebele, it's good we have the leaders. Who are the Ndebele leaders? And we say the Ndebele, they are the Bantu people speaking community, and they settled in the modern day Zimbabwe, that is the Ndebele. So these people, they had their leaders, that is such as the Mzilikazi. I see the Mzilikazi. The Mzilikazi is one of the founder of the Ndebele nation, and by 1959, the Mzilikazi had welcomed the Christian missionaries in his kingdom, that is in Ndebele. So these people, when he died in 1848, so 1868, he died in 1868. He was succeeded by his son. His son, that was known as the Lobengula. You see the Lobengula. The Mzilikazi was the father of Lobengula. And Lobengula, I see on the picture, Lobengula is a man who succeeded his father, that is Mzilikazi. And during 1880, there was an increased European interest in Ndebele. And therefore, in this time, Lobengula was able to be a resistance of these people. So the Ndebele king, that is now the Lobengula, the one who succeeded the Mzilikazi, during 1880, realized that there was an increase in Europeans' interest in the area because they had allowed the Christian missionaries. And following the discovery of the gold in this area, that is the Transvaal, in 1886, the Europeans were of opinion that the area to be north of the Transvaal or equal endowed with mineral resources. So therefore, many Europeans mining prospectors, they began visiting the area, the Ndebele land, where the Lobengula was the king. So therefore, in Ndebele land, they were looking at concession from Lobengula, and they wanted the mining concession. They wanted to get this mining industry. So up to 1880, Lobengula had successfully used a diplomacy as he wanted to avoid any war with the Europeans, and therefore he feared that the war with them would lead to his own defeat, and therefore his kingdom will die because the Europeans will come and occupy the region. So therefore, he had feared the war with them, with these Europeans, because of his own defeat and conquest of his kingdom. So he decided to make a peaceful relation, and therefore he led the Shona into peaceful areas. So the Ndebele land was resorted to a peaceful. And therefore, at the same time, ensure that his people will not rebel against him. So in spite of this, it became increasingly evident that the Europeans were still determined to conquer his kingdom. So, as the leader, he actually believed that England is like a chameleon and it can fly. So, they were heavily conquered. Because of this notion, he had a notion that until last he knocks out his tongue, like the fly disappears. He thought that the British are like the chameleon, and therefore he feared to fight them. So many factors contributed to his defeat. Looking at the war, the Zimbabwe's response, that is the king, Ndebele king of Angola, he was tricked, international incorrect translation, and thought he was allowing a few prospectus, but actual document allowed the British South Africa to do anything necessary to obtain the natural resources. They were seeking for the mining concession in this region. So the Ndebele engaged in a war that was known as the Ndebele War, and therefore because the Europeans were stronger in terms of the military organization, they actually fought against the Ndebele and conquered them. The Ndebele were conquered. You can see in the picture, the Ndebele are conquered. They were defeated. They were heavily defeated. So why do you think they were defeated? The reason or the factors that contributed to their defeat is one, the disunity. There was a disunity between the Shona and the Ndebele, who fought at the different groups. And therefore the fact that they were disunited, they were heavily defeated. They were heavily defeated by these, the British South Africa company. So another reason for their defeat, the Ndebele social class lacked unity. There was a lack of unity of purpose. So the former aristocrats fought on their own, while the former slave classes chose to even cooperate with the British. So the aristocrats, the rich people who are former slave class, the aristocrats, they fought for their own, and also the former slave classes, they joined the British, and therefore are giving the British reinforcement or support against the aristocrats. And therefore, this was the Ndebele social class, which lacked this unity of purpose. Therefore, they were heavily defeated by the British. Another reason for their defeat, the British had trained soldiers. And this is comparing to African soldiers. The British soldiers were much trained, and therefore they also got reinforcement from the Botswana and the South Africa, their colonies. So therefore this gave them more reinforcement and strength to fight against the Ndebele land who are resisting against them. So another reason for their heavy defeat, is arrest and execution of African leaders like the Nehada and the Kagumbi, demoralized the people. So these leaders who succeeded the Ndebele, such as a good example is Nehada and Kagumbi, it led to heavy defeat of the Ndebele community because they were heavily defeated by the British. The British, another reason is the British had superior weapons compared to African inferior weapons. They were using more sophisticated weapons comparing with the Europeans, and therefore comparing with Africa, who had inferior weapons. So therefore the British took advantage and conquered the Africans. Another reason, the British, the African, the magic failed to protect them against the enemy's bullet. So many were killed by the British, including the Mwari cult leader. Remember the Mwali cult leaders? This is a resistance like that of the Tanganyika that we were discussing about the Maji. So the Mwali cult leader, they had organized the magic water. This magic water was believed that there was no any bullet that will enter in their body. And therefore, this magic water that was offered by the Mwali cult leaders, it failed terribly, and therefore the Africans were heavily defeated in the war. Another reason for their defeat, the determination of the Cecil Rhodes. Cecil Rhodes was the leader of the South African company, British South Africa company, and therefore he negotiated for peace with the Ndebele, thus ending the war. So this made the suppression of the Shona by the British easy. The fact that the Cecil Rhodes, being one of the leaders of the British South Africa company, who negotiated for peace with the Ndebele, they resorted for diplomacy, and therefore this ended the war. This made the British to suppress the Shona, who are resisting very easily because of the treaty that they formed. Looking at the war, this is the war between the British and the Shona, and the Shona and Ndebele were heavily defeated. The Ndebele were heavily defeated by the British army. What was the result of this war? The result of this war, it led to loss of African independence as the British established their authority over them. Africans lost their own independence. The Ndebele was taken, Ndebele land was captured by the British. Two, it led to the destruction of life and properties because of the scorched earth policy that was applied. So many properties were destroyed and also the death toll increased. Another effect or reason or results, it led to land alienation. The African land was alienated and they were confirmed to the listeners. So the British took African land and therefore they put Africans to the reserve. So therefore, land of Africans were alienated. Another result, there was forced labor. Africans in reserves were subjected to forced labor. So those Africans who are their lands were alienated, they were confined in a reserve. They were subjected to a forced labor, working with low pay. Another result, it led to the rapid spread of Christianity as the local people lost faith in their religion. Remember the Mwali cult leaders, they had introduced the magic water which failed, and therefore they lost confidence in this religion, and therefore allowing the European religion, that is the Christianity. So there was the rapid spread of Christianity in Ndebele land. Another factor, another result is the Ndebele indunas gained recognition as the headsmen. Remember indunas, they were the agents, and therefore these agents, they were cooperating with the British, and therefore they gained recognition to be made the headsman and also the paramount chief. Another reason is Africa were exposed to severe famine as the war hindered farming. There was no any famine because peace was not there, and therefore the Africans, they suffered severe famine. Another result, the colonial office in London lost confidence in the company, that is the British South Africa company, ruled because of the poor administration. There was a poor administration by the Cecil Rhodes, and therefore the colonial office in London lost confidence in the BSC. So, up to that is the end of our lesson today. And as usual, I want to leave you with some assignment that you will try so that in the next lesson, we shall pick from here. So, you attempt this question. Why Ndebele and Shona were defeated? Why do you think Ndebele and Shona were defeated? We have discussed the reason for their heavy defeat, and I want you to try why Ndebele and Shona were defeated. After that, you have any question for this and much more, you can always contact us through the number on your screen. That is our SMS number is the number 22518. The number is 22518. On our Facebook page, you can always get us at LESSON8 TV page, and also you can also follow us You can follow us on Twitter handle, that is LimuTV_KE. So I'm glad you are watching Elimu TV. This is your TV station where you watch and learn. Stay tuned till we meet in the next lesson. This is your teacher, Mr. John, and thank you.